So today, the federal government gave its response to the Royal Commission into veteran suicide. 122 recommendations, 85 yes, the rest are in some version of the too hard basket. I went through that in great detail at the start of the show. Hopefully that video will be up soon at skynews.com.au. But in the meantime, for his view on this, I wanted to talk to Ryan Shaw, who is a veterans advocate. He's a member, he's a man who has served in the ADF, and I wanted to get his thoughts, whether they are similar to mine or completely different. Lovely to meet you. Again, thank you for your service, Ryan. Have I got this right, where it's one thing for them to say they're going to implement something, but once we start to say, oh, yeah, we kind of acknowledge, and then we note it, that there is a whole lot of too hard basket that has come out of this report as well?
Thanks for having me on. I have to say, it's very refreshing to hear your rhetoric this evening, because it is a very special day to hear the government's response to this. I've had a lot of people come to me today and say it's great that they've managed to tick this box and agree on so many things. And I went back and I reviewed it, and they have agreed in principle on so many important things. And what does that mean? Well, it might sound better than it actually looks, but it really is saying, yes, okay, we acknowledge it, but when it comes to this, we'll action it another day. And I think when I look at this in more detail, we haven't had much time to digest it, but I'm very concerned about the lack of commitment on some of the critical recommendations that were made. I think it was recommendation 71, which is to simply ask, can you align the Department of Veteran Affairs fee for service with that of other service providers and other social service schemes like NDIS? And it was agreed in principle. And the other one was to simply, I think it was recommendation 72, which is a recommendation to expand the healthcare services for veterans. Again, agreed in principle. So how can we claim to prioritise veteran mental health and basic expansion considerations when we are just agreeing in principle? The issues we're talking about here aren't new, and it's very concerning to see some of the more larger and more extensive contributors to this national crisis that is defence and veteran suicide to be taken with such a broad approach. Is no action, we're acknowledging the problem, that's just one step. We'll think about implementing solutions in the future. When you're in defence, you learn a lot about leadership, and I don't see leadership right now. I think the next step, which is the implementation, is where that true leadership shows. That's what we need to keep an eye on. I think I just heard before it's the third birthday of the cost of living crisis. I'm still waiting for that promise, so let's see.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the other thing here, Ryan, is, and I'm pleased with your expertise that we're basically in the same ballpark, right? And again, it is early days and detail and double check. But once you start getting down to 17 of the things that are just noted, I mean, what does that even mean? You might as well just say, bugger off, because it's not even the grey area of, we sort of generally... How do they just say noted? How is this an acceptable response to 17 ideas to save people's lives?
Am I too bold to say that this just seems a little like political theatre to me, to tick a box to say that they did a thing? I'm sick of my mates killing themselves, and that's why I advocate so hard in this. And I'm just seeing political theatre with a noted, and I'm seeing political theatre with agreed in principle. Some of the recommendations I brought up, I've mentioned several times on varying media outlets, and that is the importance of creating a sense of purpose. And it is disappointing. I think it is political theatre.
Yeah, look, obviously we'll follow up with others. I appreciate, firstly, your service and then your advocacy as well. Thank you to everyone, and strength and love to everyone who's dealing with the difficulties, including the people that sadly have been lost to this stuff. Appreciate it, Ryan. All the best.
Thanks.
Ryan Shaw there for us. He is, of course, a victims advocate, and particularly a veterans advocate. And there's too many veterans that ended up becoming victims of a system that has had a Royal Commission, that had the opportunity for everyone to be heard, that the government has responded to, and I'm marking them quite harshly. Again, there's telephone numbers that are there for support. Please, 1800 011 046, the Lifeline number, and plenty of other ways to have the support. And strength and love to every person who struggles. Be you in the Defence Force or not, I get it. It's a tough time, it's a tough life, and we always want you here because we love you, family, friends, or strangers.